Hello, everyone. I am your host, Bogdan. I'm here with Henrik. I think we are going to do a really interesting podcast. So I'm going to let Henrik introduce himself and then ask a couple of questions. So, Henrik, hello.
Hey, Bogdan, nice to meet you. Uh, I'm Henrik Ingo. I'm founder of a startup called Nyrkiö. Live in Finland, and we at Nyrkiö are doing tools for what I call continuous performance engineering. So I'm trying to mainstream some of the tools I used myself and developed myself over 10 years as a performance engineer in various database companies.
All right, I think that's a really great introduction. Right now, let's jump into the questions. So, what current trends do you see in your market that you're aware of?
Uh, yeah, that's a good question. There are like short-term and long-term trends, I think. So the kind of long-term evolution that we are betting on as a company is based on the idea. So if you think like 20 years back when I was graduating and started working as a software developer. Back then at Nokia, for example, we still had like manual test engineers. So in every team, we had even in Finland one person, or then it might be that you had like the people writing code were in Europe, and then you had in India or China or somewhere far away, you had people who would manually like install the software every day on the phone. And I think we had like 100 different tests, and this one guy would like manually press the buttons on the phone in the same sequence every day. And of course, that was like the end of an era for that, and that kind of profession doesn't exist anymore. Tests are automated, and every developer writes their own tests, and you run them automatically when you do a pull request. But for performance, the situation is still kind of like 20 years ago for regular testing. So companies hire a specialist performance engineer who knows how to tune the server and how to like analyze flame graphs and so on, and and uh, and the rest of the team kind of just lets the performance expert do that, and might not care so much about performance. And my thinking is that this needs to go away. But it could be several years still that we see a movement to completely automated performance benchmarking and like continuous benchmarking, like you have continuous integration in testing.
All
Uh,
right,
yeah.
that's interesting. Okay.
So in a way, I'm trying to end my own profession and my own career, what I've been doing for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, but innovation is key in our world. So you have to do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, is there anything that you're aware of that's making the landscape more challenging or more easier to operate?
Uh, I would say easier GitHub, and if we think about this whole continuous deployment and testing and automation, the GitHub actions, GitHub workflows are definitely like becoming the standard. And of course, before this, we already had like other software like Jenkins and Circle CI and so on. But now the gravitation is going towards using GitHub workflows. They're really powerful and relatively easy to set up, and there is like a rich ecosystem of what they call actions, so like third-party modules that you can use in your workflows. And I yeah this this is a big part, like between writing code and actually deploying complex system on the servers in production. getting rid of any manual steps are always the source of errors when a human has to be involved. So like automating absolutely like 100% of that is a big part of achieving good quality and like good availability for your service.
Do you think you can automate 100% of all you do?
Yeah, and I would say except for the performance part, that's mostly happening today, and not just automating, but also in a way that everything is trackable. So in one of the companies I worked in the past, we had a complex cloud service, database as a service, and of course deploy, like when you deployed a new version of some part of the system, the deployment was automated, but it wasn't like tracked in a Git repository or somewhere else. So if you went and asked the people in charge of the production system that, can you tell me exactly which version of each component is now running in production, there was no like there was no system that had an overview of the complete picture, or just like independent system that would deploy on their own. So so then if you had an issue, it means you would not be able to say for certain that what is exactly the combination of versions that was running in production, and so maybe you would want to copy that deployment, for example, in some test environment. So that is also part of it, the kind of audit trail and repeatability.
Okay.
But mostly that is happening, but not so much for performance. And performance is like 10-20 years behind, and I think that's a huge opportunity that we need to change.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so we all know that marketing is a big part in our businesses, in every business. So tell us more about your marketing. What do you do on marketing? How is it going? What is working? What's not working? Do you have people on marketing?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. We've been very like taking a very unique path there in the beginning. So Nyrkiö is now almost 2 years, maybe 1.5 years since we launched the first version, and we have never taken outside investment. So it was just like me and another founder, and now it's me and a part-time who is actually like a go-to-market or developer relations.
Nice.
But it was always a small company, and we still have to stay cash flow positive. So we do a lot of consulting just to keep revenue coming while we develop the product. So basically you get to choose, like, do I develop one more feature, or maybe like improve testing and quality, or do you do marketing and sales, and often it's like kind of on off. So there might be several months that we don't do any marketing, and then we kind of come out with a new feature and do marketing for a while. So it's time for Nyrkiö goes much slower than a venture funded company that would have like 10-20 employees typically at this point. So that's one thing. In the first year, like about 15 months ago, I had thought that maybe we launched the first version and then improve it a little bit, and then like beginning of last summer, 2024, we would really invest in marketing. But we were lucky to get a few customers almost like in the first day. We had a couple of companies trying, and they became subscription customers, and they gave us a lot of feedback. One of them is more, like quite a large company, so they had more like enterprise type of features, like how to manage a team and so on, and user rights. So there was quite a lot to do, and quite a lot of kind of like boring work that has nothing to do with performance or so on. It's just like user interface needs to be polished, and yeah, user management and authentication and so on. So we decided that as a principle, and also like because we don't have VC funding, we are not in a hurry, so we can take our time, and we are not chasing like a hype. I think we are working on a transformation that might very well take like 10 years. So we decided, and it kind of felt right from my past and how I always work, that we will always prioritize existing customers. If they have some requests, we will always do those first, rather than doing like marketing and sales to get new customers. And so far that has worked. So all the customers we got last year renewed for the second year. They are still with us. And we got some new ones this year. But if you look at like our website or blog, you can see that sometimes like a couple of months might go past that we don't publish anything.
Yeah. I'll also link your guys' website in the description.
Yeah,
for anyone to check it out.
Nyrkiö.com.
Yeah. Okay. In your opinion, what does right now your current competitive landscape look like?
Yeah, it's quite quiet. There was one other company that has done something similar 4 years ago. That like they started before COVID, I think. And I don't. That's maybe concerning even, but they, as far as I know, they have closed now. So they had like 1 or 2 customers, and that was it. I think our approach is we try to integrate much more with GitHub, so that and making it really easy, almost like you just maybe copy one line into your YAML configuration file to add the Nyrkiö to the end. So yeah, so I think that will be our approach, and of course, working with open source projects, we can get some visibility. It's actually also like a guy in Helsinki founded, one of the founders of Turso database, so new exciting database project. They have very active open source community. I think they get like 10 different patches per day, and of course I see them coming through Nyrkiö. So this is all like a public project, and then when there are developers who in open source projects, it's typical that you might have a developer who comes there to fix one thing or like to contribute one feature and then goes away. So you have like people coming and going, and when they do that, they will see how they use Nyrkiö, and the idea is that maybe they will then take it with them to other projects and where they work.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So, not a very aggressive competitive landscape, you would say.
Yeah, no, it's very it's very quiet. In a way, we are also like creating the market or creating the category that we are in, and that's that's why we have chosen. So everything we do, we try to avoid creating situations like if we would take a loan or investment there, that would create like a that would create some kind of deadline where you have to pay back the loan, for example, that you can get some grants from government or EU. And then from my point of view, that means like what if the transformation that we are looking at will take longer than that? So we rather plan everything so that we rather take more time than set some deadline where we have to do something within a shorter time. And Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because it's not like if you were doing some like AI product now, you also have like 20 other companies doing the same thing, and it's more like a race that who is fastest to market, and we are not in that situation, so it's completely different. And I have to like continuously think and do things differently than most startups, because we are in a different competitive situation.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, let's talk about the current state. So tell us about what are you responsible for, and how you're currently spending your day.
Yes. Yeah. So now I'm dropping some news. We will have to blog about it in the next few weeks anyway. But unfortunately, Nyrkiö was founded by myself and Matt Fleming. But for several months now, actually, Matt unfortunately had to withdraw from the company for family reasons, and he's gone back to having like a regular job at Cloudflare, where he and then went back to Linux kernel work, which he has done for many years before I met him. And so that means that originally I was more like I guess I'm not fully a business person. I was always technical, but I was more responsible for the sales and admin stuff. And when Matt needed to leave, I have taken over. So I do, on a typical day, I actually do a lot of the programming now on the site. Any new feature or bug fix and so on. And then the various admin work, we have a great accountant who helps, but then also it's like a family business. So my wife helps every month doing like the receipts and accounting related stuff that we have to prepare for the accountant. And then on the go-to-market side, we have a new employee or new partner working with me, who we will introduce. But it's been great. It's also somebody I worked with in the past. So it's been great to not be alone. I think doing a startup like this as one person would not be advisable for a long time, and it's really good that I have somebody to work with again, who is happens to be a go-to-market expert. So for the phase we are in now, when we want to do more marketing, it's actually in Finnish we have a saying that you had like good luck within the bad luck. So there is like a silver lining to Matt leaving, that actually shifts the balance now. So to get a person who is more like a go-to-market expert.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, what are the most important metrics for you right now? So it may be, I don't know, new clients, pipeline growth, meetings with new prospects, revenue, and so on. What are the most important?
Yeah, that's a good question. It goes back to what I said, that in May last year, we had planned to start doing much more like blog every week and try to get meetings every week. And in the end we decided it didn't feel right, and we decided that the top priority should always be that we rather invest in keeping the current customers happy, because if they are asking for something, probably if there is some feature missing or something is not working very smoothly, it will also impact all the other customers. So we said that let's rather improve the product for the existing customers, because then in the future when we get more traffic to the site, the first impression will be better when we have done that. So the primary metric then of course has to be the renewal rate, and that was it was quite exciting. One of the customers actually went past the due date on the invoice. So in June it was a little bit exciting to follow whether they were actually renewing or not, but they were. So we have like 100% renewal rate for the first year in subscriptions, which of course is it's a good renewal rate for any startup, but for us it's the primary metric. And then the other, so we also have like some growth in subscriptions, but then we are trying to build like it's often called like product-led growth, or often you might say that like self-service. So we would like to create a product which spreads, for example, just between GitHub projects. So a developer just like copies a few lines of YAML from their previous project to the next project, or from their friend or somewhere where they saw Nyrkiö being used. And ideally, that's how it would spread. Then of course at some point you need people to take out their credit card and go to Stripe and pay it, but that's like the dream outcome. And then for this kind of self-service model, what you do is you track user behavior like a funnel. So if you have like 1,000 users who maybe read your blog post, then maybe out of those like less than 100 will follow some link and go to the product page, and then out of those again maybe like less than 10 people will actually try the product, and if you're lucky, like one of them will actually pay for the product. So and this is called conversion rate, like what is the percentage of people who hear about your startup or your product and then become customers. For us currently the conversion rate is actually too good, so we have it's growing, but we have a fairly low volume of just like visitors to the website or blog. It's like less than 100 per day, so like tens of people. It's still like a lot, but given that we don't publish content every day, so it's still good, but it's obviously really small. And then from the people who actually try the product, so I think we still have more. We still have more paying customers than users who would use it for free, and that's like a really inverted metric, and that suggests that we actually need to invest in getting more free users, because like the current funnel isn't healthy. So and in a way that's I think that's great, because obviously it should be easier to get free users than getting users to pay. So I'm optimistic about that, but it's also a situation I have not seen in any of the venture funded startups I worked myself previously.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Okay, let's talk about more on the goals side right now. So can you tell us your goals for the next, or the goals with the business for the next 6 months, 12 months, and 24 months?
Immediate goal, we are actually expanding. So even last night I was working on it quite late. So currently in this area of continuous performance engineering. So the product we started with was like a tool that helps you analyze your benchmarking results, or not just analyze, but it will actually tell you exactly whether you had some performance regressions and which commit exactly it is, and it's really powerful, but it's kind of a small part at the end of a pipeline of work that you do in performance engineering. So what we will publish next is actually a GitHub runner. So to run your performance tests on a server that's optimized for stable performance results. So better quality than the regular VMs that you get from GitHub. And this is also based on like 6 months of work we did at MongoDB 10 years ago, together with David Daly, who I work with there. And and the interesting part of this product is that it's actually a lot of the performance tuning that we do on these servers is counterintuitive. So most performance engineers, if you would give them a task to do this, they would do all the performance tunings that they know how to make the server as fast as possible. But actually, for testing, we want to optimize for as little variability as possible. So you have CPUs, for example, have a feature where they literally like change the frequency, so change the speed of the CPU, because if the server is not very busy, then you can save electricity. So this is like a feature that optimizes price performance, which is usually what you want. But from a testing point of view, it means that the exact same configuration one day randomly might be like twice as fast or slower, because the CPU is regulating its frequency and electricity consumption. So we turn off those kind of things. There are actually lots of those when you start doing it, and we're going to offer a server that's like optimized for getting repeatable performance results in performance. Okay. And that nobody is offering that today. And for the company, that means that instead of just like providing one tool for part of your performance testing workflow, we are becoming like an end-to-end performance testing service, or like benchmarking as a service, I guess it should be called.
Okay, so this is the maybe 6 months goal?
No, this is I don't know, 6 days. We need to pilot it with one user, but maybe like 6 weeks, let's say, it should be.
Okay, so it's pretty current.
So this is like immediate goal. I've been planning for it the whole summer, and and then the more longer term goal. But this will, I mentioned it because this will also change. This impacts the long term a lot, because it changes our positioning from a fairly niche. So now with this analytics solution, our target market is people who already know and are running benchmarks, and so that they have benchmark results, which then we can help analyze. But now we have a solution where we can help you also run the benchmark. So that means that everybody potentially is our target market, and it increases the target market a lot. And then so there the main goal, like I mentioned previously with the metrics, the main goal is to increase the number of free users, because we see that the conversion currently is happening quite good, but we need to have like much more breadth in the top of the funnel.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, so I have another interesting questions. What matters more than anything else to you right now, and why? So it could be metrics, it could be business growth, it could be anything.
That's a good question. This will be a surprising answer, but I think it's good to give perspective. So I'm actually leaving for the rest of the week. We are going to Western Finland for go-kart racing. So my son is racing on a national level, like I don't know, maybe he's like top 10 of the drivers in Finland in go-kart racing, and as you know, Finland always had like drivers who then go to Formula 3 and eventually to Formula 1. So that's his dream as well. Maybe he or somebody else from these guys that is racing this week will do it, and that's our hobby. And being an entrepreneur means that I can also like work from there a little bit because I can work from anywhere, but also like maybe I will not work as intensely like I do when I'm at the home office. But the reason I'm saying this is this is something we talked about with Matt also, that because it could feel also that there is a conflict if you have like a hobby, or your child has a hobby that takes a lot of time, and then you have a startup that takes a lot of time. The startup probably also needs money. The hobby also requires like so you're kind of spending both the time and the money on something else. But then when we talked about this, when we started the company, that is now a right time, and we said that hey, like we are doing everything we do in the startup, in the end we do to provide for our families and our children. So so there is no conflict when you think about it from that point of view. And this new feature that we talked about, it will just have to wait until next week.
Okay.
So
wait a second.
Yeah.
My
But it's good to not forget like priorities in life. That even if a startup is very time consuming and requires like 99% of your focus, it's still just a part of a bigger thing in your life.
Yeah, like you have to look at the bigger picture. This is what you mean, right?
Exactly.
Okay. That's interesting. So basically, it matters, like the knowing how to, balance these things matters a lot, you would say.
Yes, and to some extent it's balance. Maybe the other thing actually, now if we start talking about car racing, I actually have raw material for something I should publish, where I interviewed one of the drivers that we collaborate with in Nyrkiö. Because what I've learned, I had not done this until some years ago when my son started doing so. So I don't personally have a history with racing. But then when I started spending time there in the racetracks, and I talked with car mechanics. Like we had a coach who didn't even go to high school. Like he's gone to elementary school, and he's a car mechanic and a farmer. And then he was teaching us how to tune a race car to go faster. And then he says things like, "Oh, like Henrik and Albert, it's very important now when we start tuning the car that you must never change. Like you can only change one thing at a time, and then you have to go out and ride test laps, because if you change two things, then you don't know. Like if the car is faster, you don't know which one was the reason that made it faster." And I was like, my mouth open. I said, like, this is incredible, because this is what I teach people in software performance. Every week, and it's actually very hard to make people understand that you have to do it this way, and people constantly do it wrong. In my profession, and then here is this completely uneducated guy who could basically like do my job and lecture people, and he knows more about performance engineering than most people I work with in the software industry. So it's good to not be too like tunnel visioned or locked into your own box, and meet people from other areas of life, and you can learn surprising surprising things when you broaden your perspectives a little bit.
Yeah, that's very interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get more into the problem criteria, maybe. So if you had this is one of my favorite questions. If you had a magic wand that you could wave to solve only one thing, what would that one thing be and why?
Okay, so now I will go back to answering something that's actually like core to Nyrkiö. I think Nyrkiö is in the phase which I think every startup early on, maybe for a large part of your journey. I remember both in MySQL and MongoDB there were also these kind of jokes that there was always like this one more feature that we like. If we only had 2 more engineers, then we could do some great things with the product.
Yeah.
And even if fairly late when they had like 100 engineers, it still felt like, oh, if we could just have budget for 2 more engineers. And I am now like the only engineer in Nyrkiö at the moment. And of course I feel it as well that I would often want things to go faster. So that's maybe the if there was such a magic wand, but there isn't, and that's why it's very important. Again, I talked about this how Nyrkiö's strategy is very different from many other startups, and now when I'm telling this, I realize I'm actually comfortable not having this magic solution available because we have from the beginning built Nyrkiö in a way that I can wait extra few weeks before we have that next feature. There is nothing like there we don't have like the hype cycle who will go away or some competitor will go faster, like and we knew this when we founded. Like we are the ones who have published articles and conferences. We started an Apache open source project about this methodology that we are selling. So there is nobody else in the world that is like ahead of us or knows more about this topic than we are, and we just have to be comfortable to kind of go at the speed that we can and not rush things, and also, like I said, we are betting on a transformation in the industry, and that will take time, and it could take years, and to some extent we cannot push it to go faster. It's a natural evolution, but we want to provide the tools and make them available so that people can use them when they become part of this transformation.
Okay, so basically, the response to the question was having a couple of more developers.
Yeah, like you would almost, or even me, like even I'm not 100% developing the Nyrkiö product because I have to do a lot of consulting because that's how we fund the existence of the company. And so even just getting myself as 100% as a developer would be a great first step, and then maybe have 1 or 2 more. But instead of the magic solution, the solution we have is that we avoid putting the company situation where we would not, where we couldn't afford to go slower.
Okay. That's an interesting, perspective. Have you tried anything in the past that didn't work while trying to scale the company?
Maybe a big decision last year was I actually exactly a year ago worked on it was also one of the tools that we open sourced 10 years ago when I worked in the MongoDB performance team. It's called DSI. It's not important what it's called, but I had a project with a Nyrkiö customer where I used DSI, and I thought that I would already last year maybe launch this benchmarking as a service, and it's quite a complex tool. It it starts from deploying EC2 instances in Amazon Cloud, and then it deploys a database, and then all the like tooling to do the benchmarking, and then all the tooling to capture metrics and like profile what happens during the benchmark, and then what is the current Nyrkiö product, which is the change detection that happens at the end. So it's like a suite with you might say like 6 different tools, and it can do fairly complex tests like rolling restart on a multiple node database and so on. It's really powerful, and then at some point when I was working on it, I really realized that we are not ready for this. That this is like way too complex. Okay. If we actually get customers and they start reporting bugs, we will just kill ourselves. So I decided not to launch it, even if it was kind of working. And it was working for the specific project that I was working on, but I then didn't. I basically walked away from launching it as a product for all customers, and also so the solution I'm working on now is simpler and for now at least, like only a single server benchmarking, and it's good to start simpler and also like much more integrated. That has been the evolution in the past year, that we are really focused on like GitHub integration now, and just like having small entry points or hooks in your GitHub workflow, so that it feels very natural and people, which happens with our current users also, that they almost don't think about Nyrkiö at all. It's just one thing in a complex pipeline of automation tasks.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Yeah, basically these were all my questions. If you have any message to send to the audience that's watching this podcast, or to the world.
Yeah, I think Nyrkiö, like we have discussed, we did a lot of things differently, and your topic maybe was marketing, but actually we have done marketing, but it was always like second priority until now, and maybe eventually it will become top priority once we feel that the product is ready for a bigger audience. And but a lot of things we talked about was that you can do things differently. You don't have to. So actually that annoys me actually a lot with current like the typical startup that gets venture funding and so on. It's a very uniform playbook that they follow, and like every startup has like 5 to 10 years to grow big, and they are roughly the same size, and they go through the same cycles, and it's nice, of course, that there is this kind of formula for making new inventions and progress, but not everybody has to follow the same formula. And so what I wanted to say also, not everybody has to follow my formula either, but the idea of be like, you can be different, you can do something that nobody else did before, that is my my message.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you guys for watching the podcast. I was your host, Bogdan. I was here with Henrik. I think we did a great podcast, and see you in the next one.